He had seen every kind of performance imaginable. But when this woman walked onto the stage carrying the power to rebuild forgotten memories with architectural precision, Simon Cowell realized he was about to witness something that would redefine what it means to remember. The America's Got Talent theater hummed with familiar energy. But tonight there was an undercurrent of nostalgic anticipation mixed with profound curiosity, as if the audience sensed they were about to experience something that challenged their understanding of memory, consciousness, and the hidden landscapes of human experience that most people assumed were lost forever. Her name was Elena Vasquez, 36 years old, walking confidently toward center stage despite carrying the weight of remembering everything she had ever seen with perfect clarity. Elena possessed eidetic memory combined with extraordinary spatial intelligence, allowing her to not just remember visual information with photographic accuracy, but to mentally reconstruct three-dimensional spaces and moments from the past with architectural precision that seemed to transcend normal human memory capabilities. Elena wore a simple gray dress that suggested both professionalism and accessibility, though there was something in her eyes that indicated she was constantly processing and organizing vast amounts of visual and spatial information that others had long forgotten. Her eidetic memory combined with enhanced spatial processing had created a unique neurological configuration that functioned like a living time machine, capable of rebuilding the architecture of forgotten moments. Elena had discovered her extraordinary memory abilities during childhood, when teachers and family members began noticing that she could recall visual details from events, locations, and experiences with precision that seemed impossible. Elena's recall was truly photographic. She could reproduce exact visual information, spatial relationships, and environmental details years after brief exposure. Elena represents one of the most remarkable cases of eidetic memory, combined with spatial intelligence we've documented. Dr. Michael Rodriguez, her cognitive psychologist, had explained. Her condition doesn't just involve remembering images clearly. She can mentally reconstruct three-dimensional environments and moments from the past with architectural accuracy. During her graduate studies, Elena realized she could help people recover childhood memories they thought were completely lost. By accessing her own vivid recall of places and events, Elena could describe forgotten details that triggered recovered memories in others. When Elena recalls a memory, she doesn't just see it, she can navigate through it spatially, examining details from multiple angles, Dr. Rodriguez had noted. Her eidetic memory creates mental blueprints of past experiences so detailed she can guide others through forgotten aspects of their own memories. As Elena's memory reconstruction abilities had developed, she discovered that her recall wasn't limited to her own experiences. By visiting locations where other people had significant memories, childhood homes, schools, hospitals, important gathering places, Elena could often reconstruct the spatial and visual details of those environments with such accuracy that she could help others recover forgotten memories from their own past experiences in those spaces. Elena had initially been overwhelmed by her memory abilities, finding it difficult to forget painful experiences and feeling burdened by the emotional weight of carrying so many vivid recollections. But as she learned to work with her abilities constructively, Elena realized that her eidetic memory could become a tool for helping people reconnect with important aspects of their past that they thought were permanently lost. I discovered that my memory wasn't just about never forgetting. It was about being able to rebuild the architecture of experiences so that others could find their way back to important moments in their own lives, Elena had explained to Dr. Rodriguez. When I described the spatial details of forgotten places and moments, people can suddenly access memories they didn't even know they still had. Elena's memory reconstruction work had begun attracting attention from both medical and therapeutic communities when her techniques were tested with patients experiencing memory loss, trauma recovery, and family reunion situations. Therapists were amazed by her ability to help people recover childhood memories while researchers were fascinated by the implications of her work for understanding how spatial and visual memory storage functioned. Elena's memory architecture represents a new form of therapeutic intervention that bridges individual memory recovery and collective memory preservation. Dr. Lisa Wong, a specialist in trauma therapy, had observed. Her ability to reconstruct the spatial details of forgotten experiences helps people access parts of their own history that traditional therapy approaches often cannot reach. But Elena's most remarkable discovery was that her memory reconstructions seemed to create healing effects, not just for individuals but for entire families and communities. When she helped people recover forgotten positive experiences from their childhood or family history, those recovered memories often strengthened relationships and created renewed connections between people who had lost touch with their shared past. Elena's memory reconstructions helped families rediscover their own history, explained Dr. Jennifer Martinez, who studied family therapy approaches. When she rebuilds the architecture of forgotten family moments, people can reconnect with sources of love, strength, and identity that they thought were permanently lost. Elena had begun incorporating therapeutic elements into her memory reconstruction practice, using her eidetic recall to help trauma survivors, adoption, reunification cases, and elderly individuals who wanted to preserve important memories for younger generations. Her work showed that enhanced memory could become a tool for healing relationships and preserving family history. This led Elena to wonder whether her memory reconstruction abilities could reach larger audiences, whether her demonstration that forgotten experiences could be architecturally rebuilt could benefit people who had never considered the possibility that their own lost memories might be recoverable through detailed spatial reconstruction. Dr. Wong had suggested that Elena consider sharing her work on a larger platform to raise awareness about the therapeutic potential of enhanced memory reconstruction and the ways that detailed environmental recall could become a tool for collective healing and memory preservation. Elena represents a new paradigm for understanding memory recovery and family healing, Dr. Wong had argued. Her work could help people recognize that forgotten experiences aren't truly lost. They're just waiting for the right architectural details to rebuild the pathways back to those memories. Standing now backstage at AGT, Elena felt the familiar process of her eidetic memory automatically cataloging and organizing the visual and spatial details of the theater environment, creating the kind of detailed mental blueprint that she could access and navigate years into the future. Tonight, she would attempt to demonstrate that forgotten memories could be architecturally reconstructed, that eidetic memory could become a tool for helping others recover lost aspects of their own past, and that the intersection of enhanced memory and therapeutic intention could create experiences that reconnected people with sources of healing and identity they thought were permanently inaccessible. She carried no notes or reference materials. Her entire performance would emerge from her ability to access and reconstruct memories from randomly selected audience members' past experiences, demonstrating that detailed environmental recall could trigger recovered memories in others. The audience's reaction was immediate curiosity mixed with nostalgic anticipation. Here was someone whose abilities suggested she could help them reconnect with forgotten aspects of their own past. Someone whose enhanced memory might unlock doors to experiences they thought were lost forever. Simon leaned forward, sensing that Elena's presence represented something more significant than typical memory demonstration. Someone whose story would challenge assumptions about memory loss, recovery, and the possibility that forgotten experiences could be architecturally rebuilt through enhanced recall capabilities. "Hello, Elena," Simon said gently, immediately noticing that she seemed to be creating a mental map of every visual detail in her environment. "My name is Elena Vasquez," she began, her voice carrying the confidence of someone who had learned to transform overwhelming memory into healing capability. "I have eidetic memory combined with spatial intelligence, which means I remember everything I see with photographic accuracy, and can mentally reconstruct three-dimensional environments from the past. Tonight, I want to demonstrate memory architecture, the ability to rebuild forgotten experiences by reconstructing the spatial and visual details that trigger recovered memories. What you'll witness isn't magic or psychology tricks. It's enhanced memory being used to help others reconnect with important aspects of their own past. Simon felt something shift in his understanding of what he was about to witness. This wasn't going to be a performance about showing off unusual memory. This was someone who could potentially help people recover forgotten parts of their own life story. You're saying you can help people remember experiences from their past that they've forgotten? One of the judges asked with obvious fascination. Elena nodded with quiet confidence. My eidetic memory allows me to create detailed mental blueprints of places and environments. When I describe the architectural and visual details of locations where people have important memories, childhood homes, schools, family gathering places, those specific details often trigger recovered memories that they thought were completely lost. Most forgotten memories aren't actually erased, they're just disconnected from the retrieval pathways. By rebuilding the environmental architecture of those experiences, I can often help people find their way back to memories that are still preserved, but seemed inaccessible. Elena requested that several audience members share basic information about a childhood location that held important memories, a family home, a grandparent's house, a special vacation spot, without providing specific details about the memories themselves. The first volunteer was a middle-aged woman who mentioned her grandmother's kitchen from when she was 7 years old. Without any additional information, Elena began reconstructing the architectural and visual details of a typical grandmother's kitchen from that era and geographic region. I'm seeing a kitchen with yellow wallpaper that had small flower patterns, Elena said, her eidetic memory accessing thousands of similar environments she had cataloged. There's a window above the sink that looked out onto a backyard with a clothesline. The stove was white with blue burner controls, and there was a small table with metal legs and a formica top. The volunteer's expression immediately changed to one of shocked recognition. On the windowsill above the sink, there were small ceramic figurines, probably animals or children, and the counter space was limited, so your grandmother kept frequently used items in a wooden rack, hanging on the wall next to the refrigerator. Elena continued reconstructing specific details. The floor was linoleum with a pattern that looked like small tiles, and there was a step stool that you used to reach the counter when you helped with cooking. The kitchen always smelled like coffee and something baking, and your grandmother had a particular spot where she kept her mixing bowls. The audience watched in amazement as the volunteer began crying, clearly experiencing recovered memories triggered by Elena's architectural reconstruction of her grandmother's kitchen. You're remembering something specific now, Elena said gently. Something about learning to bake bread and your grandmother teaching you to knead dough while standing on that step stool. The volunteer confirmed that Elena's environmental reconstruction had triggered vivid, recovered memories of learning to bake with her grandmother, memories that she thought were completely lost, but were now flooding back with remarkable clarity and emotional intensity. Elena continued with additional volunteers, demonstrating her ability to architecturally reconstruct childhood bedrooms, family vacation cabins, and school classrooms with such detailed accuracy that each person experienced recovered memories they had forgotten for decades. What you're witnessing, Simon explained to the audience, is enhanced memory being used to rebuild the architecture of forgotten experiences. Elena's eidetic memory is creating pathways back to memories that seemed permanently lost. With each demonstration, Elena's environmental reconstructions triggered emotional reconnections with forgotten aspects of the volunteer's personal history, revealing the therapeutic power of detailed memory architecture to restore access to important life experiences. When Elena completed her memory reconstruction demonstration, the theater remained in profound silence as the audience processed not just the accuracy of what they had witnessed, but the realization that their own forgotten memories might be recoverable through similar architectural reconstruction. Then applause began, Not typical entertainment appreciation, but the kind of recognition that follows profound healing, acknowledgement of having witnessed capabilities that could restore connections to lost aspects of personal and family history. Simon stood up from the judges' table, understanding that Elena had demonstrated something far more significant than unusual memory abilities. She had proven that forgotten experiences could be recovered through enhanced recall, that eidetic memory could become a tool for therapeutic healing, and that the architecture of memory could be rebuilt to restore access to important aspects of human experience. "Elena," Simon said as he walked onto the stage, "what you've just shared challenges everything I thought I knew about memory, forgetting, and the possibility of recovering experiences we thought were permanently lost. You haven't just demonstrated remarkable memory, you've shown us that your abilities can help people reconnect with forgotten sources of love, identity, and healing from their own past. You've proven that lost memories aren't really lost, they're just waiting for the right architectural details to rebuild the pathways back to them." Elena smiled with the satisfaction of someone who had learned to transform overwhelming memory into healing capability. "I learned that my eidetic memory wasn't just about never forgetting. It was about helping others find their way back to the forgotten experiences that shaped them. When we can rebuild the architecture of important memories, we can reconnect with sources of strength and love that seemed lost forever." As the golden buzzer activated and confetti fell, Simon said, "Elena, you've proven that the most valuable memories are often the ones we think we've lost, and that extraordinary recall can become a bridge that helps people reconnect with the most important experiences of their lives." 6 months later, Elena established the Memory Architecture Institute, helping individuals and families recover forgotten experiences through environmental reconstruction. Her techniques proved valuable for therapy centers, where memory recovery was crucial for healing. "Elena revolutionized how we think about memory recovery," explained Dr. Rodriguez. "She proved that forgotten experiences could be rebuilt through enhanced recall, opening new approaches to therapeutic memory work. The memory architect who rebuilt forgotten experiences had demonstrated that eidetic memory could become a tool for healing, that forgotten memories could be recovered through detailed reconstruction, and that profound healing emerged from reconnecting with sources of love and identity people thought were permanently lost."